Hello everybody, this is Havoc, and welcome back to Frostpunk 2 with our last episode. Now, I want to say a couple of things. First, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Hope you're going to enjoy this episode. It is going to look a little different than the standard. If you want to support the channel, you can totally do so by giving the video a like, subscribing to the channel, leaving your comments in the comment section down below, but also, we're going to treat this one a little bit differently because, well, I've already beat the game. Now, in professional YouTuber style, I beat the game and OBS wasn't running. So what we're going to do today is we are going to treat this more like a guide. Title will reflect as such, hopefully the thumbnail will, but it also will tie into the last part of this chapter. So huge spoilers ahead, by the way, because we are going to complete the end of the game. We're going to complete this chapter, and I'm going to kind of give you a step-by-step instruction into how to accomplish this. So that's kind of the goal. Again, a little more of an informal guide than a professional one, but it is what it is. So one of the things we are about to do is we are about to try the path of reconciliation. And I will say this right now. One, the game is going to have some of the most epic music you're going to experience in the whole thing. But two, we are going to experience an extreme amount of difficulty. So I can give you a little bit of context here. We are rocking a ton of oil. We're rocking a ton of food. Our material supplies aren't great. We are going to need to adjust that. Good supplies are okay. Not that we don't have to do anything in these two things here, but there is a little bit of optimization that we are going to take advantage of. So what we're going to start out with is, for one, we are going to see if we can't get a rule passed right here. We are going to, oh, we can't. It doesn't look like we would be able to, even if we negotiated it for the Frostlanders, let's say for that, we still wouldn't be able to get enough to pass because these laws do require a majority. So we're not going to worry about that. And instead, what we're going to focus on are the super optimal things you have to do. And there is a lot of optimization that you have to have in order to pass this. So what we are going to do, we're going to head over to the old dreadnought. We're going to stop siphoning so much here. We're going to make sure they have just enough what they need. And we are going to go ahead and pump into here because we are going to experience a very intense degree of material loss here. That's just what's going to happen in this. So we can transfer those materials. Let's go ahead and do that just so they're in the positive. And then the same thing for over here. In fact, so much so, we could go ahead and start siphoning for them right like that, and we'll be good there. We can totally pump in 10K just to help out there. No worries there. Transfer supplies. That way we are good. We're going to go over into our old dreadnought, and I will have a couple of expansion things that I can do, and all of this will make sense once I get to it. But one of the things you'll notice is that in this dense housing district, I can expand it. We are going to expand that, and I can expand here. Now, again, this won't be what everyone can do, so I don't expect exact steps. But what we're going to do is once those have expanded, we are going to get a couple of research hubs. Here we go, research institutes, and we're going to put them in here and then counter this as well. The reason being, we need to be able to research things extremely quick in order to succeed in this next part. So we want to go ahead and prepare for that. Over here in Winterhome, there are a couple things I think we could expand on. Yes, we could expand our housing districts, and that's something that we definitely want to do because it will allow us a little bit of wiggle room in everything that we need to have going on. Now, New London is where the intensity comes. You are going to need a ton of guard squads in order for this to work. So we need to have as many guard squads as possible. And I do believe that means, for me, expanding a little bit so my new housing districts can thrive. But I'm talking, you are going to want to have this already researched and already up and running before even this point. So just kind of be aware of your situation. So what we're going to do, we are actually going to remove any subsidized housing blocks that we have. Teaching hospitals are probably necessary, but we are going to go overboard obsessive on all of this. So let's take over the moss filtration post we really do need. It's the subsidized housing blocks that I really don't need at this moment because we will go ahead and build a couple of housing districts. Can I even fill this one out? Sweet, I can. And I can over here as well. So we are going to counter that a little bit. But basically what I need to do is I do need to make as many guards houses as possible. And this is exactly why. So what you're going to see happening is that up to 6 districts at a time will start rioting and having a lot of violence. And what we need to do, you can see here, boiling tensions, we have to reduce the tension. It's at catastrophic right now, and we'll do that pretty quickly and easily. We have to have all of those things in motion though. So for instance here, what we can do, we're gonna say, hey, we're gonna protect, which is gonna bring this up, a district protection priorities. Basically, what do we want to do? We want to stop the destruction, or do we want to save lives? Stopping the destruction will be less guard squads, will reduce the tear or the wear and tear of the buildings, so anything extra that you have, the hubs, etc., but it won't protect lives. You need to save lives because your relationship with all the factions will largely depend on how many people have died during this civil war period. So we definitely want to protect lives. But again, that means we don't have a lot of guards in the moment. There we go. High fervor means higher casualties. If one faction's decimated, the civil war ends. Okay, we're going to pause here, and we need to build all of our patrol watchtowers. So we are going to build several of them, all that we can. Sweet, and we're going to have even more. Now we're going to immediately switch over to all stalwarts. The stalwarts, I feel like, are less fervorous, and we'll be able to handle them better. So we're going to negotiate their peace agreement first. And as usual, with this chapter scenario, you get 3 different options that you can choose. We can do resource abundance, which means we could pass city development, we can research pyrolytic charcoal plant, and research synthetic composites factory. We could do a personal responsibility. We can research unproductive due maintenance, privatized alcohol production, or merit-based housing. By the way, you do have to pass these as well as research. That's what they don't tell you. We could construct 3 teaching hospitals and then research experimental treatment or pharmaceutical testing. So it's basically whatever we feel like we can accomplish here. Now, the cool thing about this is that a teaching hospital would not require in New London. We could do that outside of New London. So in this instance, we would only need to research and pass experimental treatment and then do 3 teaching hospitals. But what I want to do here is I want to go with personal responsibility, because unproductive due maintenance will simply offset some of the issues we're going to have with our materials. But privatized alcohol raises trust, or merit-based housing even, which means shelter is slightly increased and heat stamps income is also. So we're going to go with personal responsibility. We're going to go with alcohol production, and we're going to go with merit-based housing, which means I now have research that has to get done, which is why we want a fast researching facility. So we're going to go over here to housing distribution. We're going to go with merit-based housing. We're going to research that real quick. And we're going to come over here, as I mentioned before, we're going to build our research institutes. And we can expand them again, which means if you really, really wanted to, you could go in. Oh, this already has to. It sure does. And you could expand it even further if you wanted to, which is definitely what I think we will end up doing. Because again, I want this to pass stupidly fast. And then we can come over here and we can also build a research institute. Just again, so we can build things crazy, ridiculously fast. And then what we need to make sure we're doing, all of those guards towers are about to construct. And now we've managed to decrease tensions, which is exactly what needed to happen. And we can go into these other districts and we can start protecting the people. And as you can see, a massive number. We are going to have up to 6 districts. So right now we have 4. So that means we need, what, 48, correct? So we aren't done expanding. And so that's one of the things that, again, we just have to be super mindful of. And we can build and construct very quickly. Sweet. Okay, we've got our guards towers going. Merit-based housing is going to work. So we are going to negotiate on that front. We are going to negotiate with the Frostlanders. And we are going to say, hey, we will, these are all, that's fine. We'll go with the bio-waste hothouse, advanced bio-waste hothouse. We'll go with a waste repurposing facility. They're going to vote for it. It's going to get voted into law right off the bat. No questions about it. Sweet. And then we are going to have to work just a little bit We are going to have to go into, what is it? We're going to have to go into work compensation before we can get into the final stage of what we need for the privatization of alcohol. And then we also need to research waste repurposing facility, which we're going to do that first, actually, because we do need to have that compensation. We need to be able to prove that we are definitely worthy of doing that. And then what's going to happen is every once in a while, ooh, okay, stalwarts take hostages. Stalwarts stormed a new district full of pilgrims' neighborhoods, set buildings on fire, and forced them out ruthlessly before ruthlessly beating them. Pilgrims had to retreat, leaving many of their own behind. Now the pilgrims are begging for you to help them. They're not fighters. Some of them are children or elderly. We'll definitely ransom the captives. That's going to help us with their relationship with these guys. And we will be pretty stalwartly good for now. Oh, nope, we've got another district. We're definitely going to protect the people. That's the most important part in all of this, remember. And then we're also going to go with our pilgrims here. We're going to negotiate their peace agreement. And in this case, we can do adaptability, which means salvaging factories, moss filtration towers, waste repurposing factory. We're actually going to go ahead and go with that because we're already researching a waste repurposing factory. Like, that's just going to be what it is. We could do these things if we wanted to, traditional families, technology, adaptability. We're going to go ahead, waste repurposing facility. And I feel like a moss filtration tower is something that can be totally done. We have the space to do it, so we might as well. So what we're going to do, we're going to go into our old dreadnought. I know I'm moving really fast here, but you have to move fast in this section or you'll pretty much die. It's so intense over here. It is wild. And so what we're going to do, we're going to move a few people because we do need some people over here in order to make this work. I can build 2 moss filtration things here just in this area alone. So I am going to do that. We just need the people to be able to accomplish it, which means I would be able to build and research and build a waste purposing facility and build 3 moss filtration towers, ending their agreement very quickly. Privatized alcohol will come in pretty soon behind, and I can stop worrying about so many districts being on fire and being able to work on that. You can see we're losing a lot of food, but look, our housing is almost completely taken care of, so it's not that big of a deal. You know what? Forget that. We can go ahead and build those moss filtration towers there, and we'll be right as rain. And then I can come over here, and guess what? I can build a research institute because we really, really need it. Sweet. So the Frostlanders' demands have already been met. Now, that was just for the voting agreement. We now have to build a waste repurposing facility, which is going to be over here. This is the tricky part because we need to make sure that this place isn't under the riots and the Civil War. So we're going to do that. What's up with this over here? We do have severe squalor. And so what we are going to do, even though we don't need it, well, we do need it. We are going to build that waste reprocessing as soon as we can. Oh, never mind, we can't. Just kidding. We're not going to worry about it. They'll be all right. It's the last section of the game, guys. It will be okay. And we need to build 2 waste processing facilities, repurposing facilities, making sure that none of those are in the riot sections. Sweet. Technological adaptability has been enacted. The pilgrims are not now as militant, which is awesome. We have completed the pilgrims section here. We're good there. We now have to research privatized alcohol, which means we do have to research efficiency bonuses. And is there anything that I need to pass here? I don't think there is at the moment. So what we need to then work on is our relationship with the Frostlanders and the Pilgrims. And the reason why is that the Frostlanders are still the largest faction. And this is going to be something we need to look into immediately while we're still ahead, quote unquote. So they'll seek to pass community service and expedition support. So what we need to do is we need to find those and we need to do that. So by getting expedition support, we'll be able to vote for that. Let's go ahead and vote. We shouldn't need anyone to negotiate with, and it passed. All right, so again, the whole purpose is to make these guys literally as happy as they can. We're going to fund those. We're going to make sure that they are on our side completely and totally. Everything is still going according to plan. We just got to wait a little bit longer. All right, charge humanity. Steward the Civil War is taking a turn for the worse. As it spread yet another district, a radical cell of stalwarts set fire to a pub where pilgrims were known to gather. Oh, they forced all 67 people inside to perish in the flames. We don't have enough to hunt down the perpetrators. Oh, that kills me because that's a really important one to have. And we now have 7 districts. This wasn't anticipated. Normally I have enough and I don't this time, which really sucks because that is going to cause the trust to fall just a little bit in all the wrong areas. We'll be able to conquer it in just a minute. But yeah, even having those people there absolutely kills me because it means that we're not going to be able to have that function. I should have had even more people out here, and that's on me. But it also looks like I actually can't even expand anymore. So I'm really in like the biggest of pickles in the worst of ways at the worst of times. But hopefully this will help. Okay, now we can go over here, protect the people. All 7 districts are ready to rumble in the jungle. And we can vote on the city for privatized alcohol. A lot of people are against it. Once again, we're going to get the Frostlanders in here. They are our biggest thing here. A waste repurposing facility. Absolutely, the vote will pass. And it passes with flying colors. Awesome. Okay, so technically, everyone's good to go. There we go. We will find a permanent solution, and we got to find it quickly. So one of the things we need to do is we need to repair everything. And we also need to remember to build our waste repurposing facility, which the game does a decent job of letting you know, hey, you promised you would do this, so you're going to do that. And then what we need to do, we need a salvaging factory to compensate for all of this at the time. Sweet. Okay. We are out of heat stamps. I think that's what we are saying here. Yep, heat stamps are out. Okay, we're building our waste facility. Our relation with the Frostlanders, but you can see, has already been deteriorated. And even if we were to vote right now, it wouldn't work. So what we are going to do, we're going to see what they need. Okay, they still want weather-adjusted shifts. So that's probably what we're going to do if we make them a promise. Here we go. Promise to research weather-adjusted shifts. And that's going to let me know, hey, it's over in resources. Ah, the worker shifts. I see that there. We're going to research that idea. And we're definitely going to do everything we can to make sure it passes, because that's what we need. We don't need this food district anymore. Be a little more optimal there. And then we need to increase all the things here. So let's go ahead and destroy this. We need to build a deep-seated drill in order for that to work. Everything's good on that front. We can't do anything there. But what we can do in these districts is we can build a bio-waste hothouse. And again, we're working on heat stamps as much as possible to compensate. Sweet, we've already met that demand, so we're getting them well and prepared. So we will need to pass worker weather-centric shifts. Well, let's see where we're at for the rule just in case. We almost have enough. We need 67 in order to make this work. So we would get 74 if everyone got there. We're almost there. So what we need to do instead, we will pass weather-adjusted shifts. Again, we're going to negotiate with the Frostlanders because that's the easiest and most fantastic way to do it. We are going to build a carrion coal liquefier or Vanguard. We'll do a Vanguard logistics bay. That'll be pretty easy enough. Once again, it's going to pass. There we go. Now we need to build a Vanguard logistics bay, which requires 600 people. We currently don't have that. However, I think they have 714. They have 1,100. Let's go ahead and shift some people to New London. There you go. Relocate. Sweet. People are there. Let's get it to it. A Vanguard's logistic bay should be a simple thing to build. It is awesome. This may be enough to make things work. Let's check it. Ah, yes, it is going to work. So we now have only 31 hesitant, and we can see that those hesitant people, 15 of those are Frostlanders, which means if we guaranteed all of the Frostlanders, we would actually be able to win this thing. So let's go ahead. We're going to negotiate once again with the Frostlanders, and we're going to construct a carrion coal liquefactor. That should get us our 67 for sure that we need. Let's try and get it done. Come on, 67. Heck yes. All right. Woo. We have peace for now. We've secured an end to the Civil War. The warring factions have agreed to put aside their grievances and settle their disputes. This peace will last as long as we keep working for it. We thought it impossible. That which spawned from condemnation could only produce conflict. To take two groups fundamentally opposed to each other at its core and bring them together, we've never been so happy to be wrong. We can only hope that this peace will last long enough to rebuild the city. Tonight we celebrate, tomorrow we get back to work. Well done, Steward. Against all odds, you have succeeded. The city stands. So the city did not fail. In the darkest hour, you strive for peace. Hope persists. A flicker in the wind. This is actually a really cool part of the video, of the game. Maybe you wanted everyone to get along. I supported the stalwarts in their vision of the future, then took it away from them. Maybe you tried your very best. We only quarantined 1,100 people, 953 children apprenticed to their kin. Maybe you always looked for a middle path. We settled Winterhome. Something had to be done. Maybe you never gave up even at the brink. We only lost 570 people in the Civil War and only 7 districts got damaged. The peace vote passes, 70 in your favor. Hostilities now cease, and New London finds peace. For now. Even so, Lily May, who's 14, a bookbinder, she learned the new trade. Her mother was lost in the Civil War. Lily May was the first child, remember. She reveres the stewards for keeping the city together, and even as life is harsh, her head is full of dreams. This is the child that was born at the beginning, which is a super cool tie-in. I absolutely love it. The path to peace is narrow. And as long as we roam this still cold world, it has no end. And that's the end of the game. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial / end of the Let's Play series, because I really enjoyed everything about it. Again, if you want to support this channel in the video itself, you can do so by giving the video a like. By subbing to this channel, leaving your comments in the comments section, though, is one of the best ways, along with liking that video and sharing it to all your friends and family, of course. Thank you so much once again for hanging out with me with Frostpunk 2. This is a great game. I have my thoughts on it. Maybe I'll make another video on those thoughts. We'll have to see. But for now, this is Havoc, and I'll see you in the next one.